Hello, small group faith sharing folks. As we enter into this Holy Week, I thought about talking about the upcoming Sunday readings as we've done the last couple weeks, but I thought instead I would talk a little bit about the Triduum readings. So why do we call this a Triduum? The Triduum is a Latin word that means the 3 days. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, Easter Sunday. 3 days. Oh, wait a minute, that's 4. But the answer is we begin with counting on sundown on Holy Thursday. So sundown on Holy Thursday to sundown on Good Friday is the first day. Sundown on Good Friday to sundown on Holy Saturday is the second day. And sundown on Holy Saturday to sundown on Easter Sunday, the third day. Hence our 3 days. These 3 days represent the paschal mystery of Jesus' passion, death, and resurrection. It is this mystery, this paschal mystery, that is the very heart of our Christian faith. Before I went to seminary, I was very blessed in the jobs that I had. The last 2 jobs in particular, before I went to seminary, in the interviewing process, I told the person who would be my potential employer that I don't work on Holy Thursday, Good Friday, or Holy Saturday. I thought those days were so important to my faith life and my relationship with Jesus that I really shouldn't be at work those days. So these liturgies are those days when, in a special way, Jesus invites us to share in the Paschal mystery. If you count the readings between Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter Sunday, just those 4 days, not including the Liturgy of the Hours, just the Mass, there's 18 readings in those 4 days. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about all 18 readings. But I do want to point out a couple of key points to each day's readings, something that I think is important in understanding the Liturgy of the Word for the Triduum. The sacred scriptures that we read on Holy Thursday tell us about the Passover, how the Passover was originally celebrated in antiquity by God's command, and what Jesus did with the apostles as they celebrated the Passover on the night before his death. The Passover was the event which God used to free his people from slavery. It was an event that was a sign of the covenant between God and his chosen people. As you listen to the readings on Holy Thursday, pay close attention to what St. Paul says in the second reading about the Passover. Good Friday is the only day in the church calendar when the Mass is not celebrated anywhere in the church, because the Mass is the sacrifice of Jesus to redeem us from sin, a sacrifice that establishes a new covenant. It's the new Passover where God does not spare his own firstborn son, but takes Jesus' obedient sacrifice and uses it to extend to us an eternal covenant. As we stand at the cross on Good Friday, we will hear the words of the psalmist crying out, words resonating in the heart of Jesus, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. What could I say in a minute about the richness of the readings that the church gives us for Holy Saturday? On that particular night, the church gives us 7 Old Testament readings, St. Paul, and the Resurrection Gospel. We hear about covenants offered to Abraham, a covenant offered at Mount Sinai, and covenants offered through the prophets. It is in that epistle reading from St. Paul to the Romans that we hear the promise that God offers us in this new Passover covenant. As we share in the paschal sacrifice of Christ, the Passover sacrifice of his passion, death, and resurrection, let us ask God to help us remember the great love he has for us in rescuing us from sin and establishing a covenant with us through Christ. May this Triduum be a profound moment of the experience of God's love. God be with you, and have a blessed Holy Week.